Good morning to you. Welcome back to the Morning Minute Meditation. Glad that you've joined me on this fine morning. Well, we're headed toward a brand new year, and we're praying that the Lord blesses you richly in every possible way in this upcoming year. Our prayer for you and your prayer for yourself should be as the prayer of Jabez was. Jabez called upon the God of Israel, saying, "Oh, that thou wouldst bless me indeed, and enlarge my coast, and that thy hand might be with me, and that thou wouldst keep me from evil, that it may not grieve me." All of this is placing faith and trust, which is our word of the day, placing trust in the Lord, that he will do exceeding abundantly above all that we ask or think, according to the power that worketh in us. Now, all of that in consideration, let me give you a verse from the book of 2 Samuel. In 2 Samuel 22:31, David has defeated the Philistines, and it's been a hard-fought battle. He has faced some giants, very much like Goliath, some that were kin to Goliath, in the battle. At the end, he gives a song of deliverance in chapter 22. Way down in the chapter, in verse 31, he makes this statement. He said, "As for God, his way is perfect. The word of the Lord is tried. He is a buckler to all them that trust in him." Now, in that verse, there are about 8 things that we can delineate and give to you this morning, which we'll do. Let me give you, however, the word in the verse. It is this word. It is the third word from the end of the verse, trust. Trusting in the Lord. Now, what does trust mean? The word trust there is a threefold in its definition. It deals with running to someone for protection. It deals with putting confidence in or confiding in. And then it means hoping or making refuge in. The word hope is the word confidence or trust. So there are 3 things to consider about the definition. Number 1, trusting is me running to someone greater than myself. Number 2, it is relying upon my protection, relegating it into the hand of the one who is greater than I. And finally, it is taking complete refuge in that person that I have chosen to trust. And in the verse, it's speaking about putting trust in the Lord. In 1981, which was over 40 years ago, in the Ladies' Home Journal, there was a survey that was done about who do you trust most. There were 4 options or choices given. Walter Cronkite, who was a news anchor at that time, and then Pope John Paul and Billy Graham, and finally on the list was God. And in order, here is the statistics. 40% of those surveyed said that they trusted in Walter Cronkite, the news anchor. 26% of those surveyed said that they placed trust in Pope John Paul. 6% of those surveyed said that they trusted Billy Graham, and this was at the height of his popularity. And only 3% of those surveyed said that they placed any trust at all in God. Now, the climate of America was different in those days. Most people would call themselves Christians, and there was more of a conservative climate in America than there is today. So let us consider how that particular survey would fare today. No one, hardly anyone, would say that they trusted in the living God. So can we trust God? The word trust is used 134 times in the Bible, and other derivatives of the spelling of that word are also used, and words that were used to translate the word trust are also used in the Bible. But trusting is a major theme in the Bible. If you don't trust God, then you don't believe him. So in David's verse, as for God, his way is perfect. The word of the Lord is tried, buckler to all them that trust in him. What can we learn? Number 1, the perplexity of man. He said, as for God. In other words, he's answering the question, who can I trust? Well, as for God, let me tell you about him. Men are perplexed about who to trust. Number 2, the path. He said the way, his way, is perfect. In other words, you can trust him, but you've got to be on the path with him. He has to be Lord, and he has to be directing your path. Number 3, the perfection of God. He said, I want you to know that the way that God chooses is perfect, regardless of the bumps in the road. It is perfecting my life to be what God would have me to be, which means if it's His path and it's a perfect path, then I'm protected in it. Number 4, it has to do with the precept of God. He said, His way is perfect, but let me consider this, the word of the Lord is tried. In other words, we must trust the precept of God's word and realize that it is pure. The word tried in the text is a term that is used by goldsmiths and silversmiths as they put the gold in the fire and purify it. Then the word protection is used in our illustration or outline. He said He's tried and He is a buckler. The word buckler means a shield of protection. God is a protection for our life regardless of the path that we are on if we are trusting in Him. The final thing, which is primary to all of this, is that it is personal, those who will do this. And then finally, it is primary that we place our trust in the Lord. Do you trust God? That is the question of the day. Consider these things and have yourself a grand day.